Hi there. Welcome. I'm so glad that you could make it today. We had another Q&A yesterday, but some people were not able to make that time. And also because enrollment for the Naturally Recovering Autism membership program closes at midnight tonight, Thursday, July 22nd. So make sure that you learn more about it. We're here to answer your questions now. The page here at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership, you'll see written below at the bottom of the screen here. That will take you to a page that will give you the full layout, let you hear from some members who have had tremendous results. One mom had a 27-year-old son who was only speaking 2-word sentences, and now he's completely reading books with her. And she tells you from her own words right there on that page as well. And I want to share these things with you to give you not only hope, but to really help you understand how real this is and how much our kids can improve. And I come from personal experience to share this with you. My own son was diagnosed with autism 15 years ago now. I was told to drug him and try behavioral therapies, and there was nothing else we could do, but I didn't want to listen to that. Fortunately, I have a 30-year background in craniosacral therapy studying the brain. So I knew it was a scientific fact that the brain can and does heal. But I had to research autism just like you're doing. You're hunting and pecking around the internet, probably trying to figure out what to do. Maybe you've tried several practitioners, jumping from one to another. One might know something about one thing, another might know something about something else, but doesn't know everything. Nobody seems to know everything, or they really don't know very much at all. And there's no roadmap for you to follow. And I know personally how frustrating that is. It's a lot of wasted time because you want your child to get better now. And it's a lot of wasted finances as well. I've spent as much as $600 on one doctor's appointment. And so it's really important to know that you can save yourself time and money both by having a roadmap. And that's what I offer you. I take my 15 years of autism research, my 30 years of holistic background, which all includes everything about health of the diet, gut healing, but then the detoxification and the co-infections are so important for autism recovery. I take everything I've learned, streamlined it into a program for you, and that's the membership. So there's no more confusion for you, and you know how to get actual results, but also you get support, because that's another thing I know is really challenging on this journey is that, it might be, I've paid as much as $100 for a 15-minute follow-up phone appointment with a doctor. They charged $100 just to talk to them, and they didn't even really give me that much information. Sometimes I didn't even get my questions answered. And then I'm still supposed to pay them, you're still paying them their fee. And it's very frustrating, and I understand that. So I'm here to support you as a parent of a child with autism and let you know that there is A to Z program here I've laid out for you, one step at a time to easily follow, to help you understand what you need to do when you're doing it, but how to do it. I've also researched for 15 years autism and come down to narrow it down to the 5% of the very top products, supplements that are necessary when it's right for your child. And that is really important too. We don't want to just throw a bunch of supplements at a child, especially a child with autism, because hopefully you saw my masterclass last Saturday. If you missed it, I go into full detail about all of the stage 1 of all the gut healing and why the gut controls the brain and the importance of that connection. All of the heavy metal detoxification that's done safe and naturally, not with a prescription DMSA or other things that you might get from a doctor. And I tell you why, though, that's not safe, but also share a safe way to do this that is a spray that tastes like water. So it's super easy to give to a child or anybody at anybody's age. Then there's the co-infections like mold biotoxins, Lyme's disease, PANS or pandas with strep, parasites, and all these infections that all affect the brain. All of this is creating inflammation in the body, which inflames the brain, which then makes it so The brain can't think. Your child can't focus. Maybe depending on what part of the brain is affected, it depends on what 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 part of the body isn't going to work correctly. It could be the part of your brain that affects fine motor skills. Maybe they can't write well. Maybe it's they just can't focus or think or concentrate at all, even when they try. Maybe they have speech issues. They're not able to speak, or sometimes they might get a couple words out and other times not. And you wonder, well, why is that? It's what part of the brain is being affected when, and certain infections do affect various parts of the brain more so than others. But it's important to work with everything. This is not just about diet alone. Diet is very important. I will tell you that. The right diet, because a lot of people aren't always on the right diet. They think they are. Just being gluten-free and casein-free is not enough. But also in masterclass, I walked you through those steps. And again, the masterclass replay, if you missed it, is still available until midnight tonight also. And it's on the same page as the enrollment and the information about the membership, so you can learn more, hear from some moms that have had tremendous benefits with their children and support for themselves through the membership. And it's all at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. And I have the chat box open. I'm going to write hi there in here right now. So the chat box is open, and I wanted you to have the chance to ask me any questions you might be having, because if you're still on the fence about joining or wondering, if you could do this, is this possible, that I want to be here again to support you, but answer those questions and help you understand that you can do this. But it is vital to have a roadmap to follow. But then also, with having a plan, you need to know how to work that plan. If you don't know how to work a plan, you're just lost and more confused. And then you find yourself jumping around to this and that, not knowing if that, those things are going to work or how to properly do them. Because for one example, we never want to give a child with autism, the dosage that is on a bottle. That is too much for them, and we want to minimize things and very slowly titrate up. But you have to know how to do that. And so I teach you that as well in the program. I also show you how to transition a picky eater, because I know how challenging it is. My son was once a very picky eater. He is not a picky eater today at all. I don't know if I mentioned it this time around, because I did in the master class, but my son today no longer has any of the symptoms of autism he once had. Obsessive compulsive disorders, hyper focus, sensory overload, couldn't sit still in a classroom comfortably, was always getting in trouble. You can probably relate to that, right? I was the mom that was always getting called, and they wanted to know how they could work with him, and that was a challenge. But he was also sometimes could be really irritable and even a bit aggressive at times. And I really want to clarify to you that your child is not an angry child, that their brain is inflamed in places, is causing the irritability and the anger. And some of these things stem from the toxic overload. Some are from the pathogenic bacteria releasing toxins and affecting their body, their gut, their brain, and causing these behaviors. Heavy metal toxins, especially mercury, is really known to cause a lot of anger and aggression. So once I figured everything out, took me a decade of implementing through trial and error like you're doing. And then once I figured it out and really had, gone through everything with my son, his symptoms all went away. Now, what do you call that when they no longer have the symptoms? Well, autism is just a diagnostic label for a group of symptoms, and everybody's symptoms are different. This is a spectrum disorder, but some kids will keep their diagnosis and still have some minor symptoms, but maybe they're minor now, and the child can be independent, focused in a classroom. Kids have gone from D's and F's to A's and B's. Kids who couldn't write at all with a pen, they couldn't literally hold the pen or form words, and were caused tremendous stress on their own to not be able to do it. because of what I shared in the membership and what the mom has implemented from the plan I gave her, one daughter is a teenager. She is completely writing happily now, writing poems, writing everything, and is so happy to be able to write. You know, my son used to have, like I said, some irritability issues. Today, he's the happiest, calmest, easygoing guy, most easygoing guy. And he is now 25 and a college graduate. And he lived away at college on his own for 3 years where he was over 1,000 miles away from us, and independently his own apartment, happy, healthy, fine. Now, this is something that, 15, 20 years ago, I looked at him and thought, oh my gosh, is he going to be able to be okay, be independent, live a healthy life, have friends? And then today he has all of those things. So he no longer has any of the symptoms he once had. And that's why I wanted to share what I did with you, because I want you to understand what can happen for your child. Now, the membership enables you to have that A to Z roadmap, to be able to follow it, to be able to go through each step one at a time so that you don't get confused. And I give you an actual, like I said, roadmap. So it's done in a sequential order. So you can start at the beginning with basically step one. And I give you, like, once you join, and there are 2 different payment options to make it easier for you, and that's on the membership page here at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. Once you're on that page, there's the masterclass replay, so you can watch any part of that as you like, again, until midnight tonight, so don't delay. And then below it gives a full layout of the 7 modules that are in the program. Each one has very, very short videos. They're less than 5 minutes each, so that it doesn't take a lot of your time, and I really get to help you understand some of the what and why, but I really want to give you the how. Okay, we're doing this for this reason. Here's how. Implement this one thing today. And on the introduction page, which you'll get your login details within 5 minutes after you join the program. So you don't have to delay anymore with your child's recovery process, helping them get better before school starts. You can start implementing things and getting some traction, right? Because school is just around the corner, and we want our kids to be able to connect with others better, or more easily if they don't, or speak better if they need that. Learn, have the ability to learn, because our kids are brilliant. And one child, he was diagnosed at age 2 with autism. In 2nd grade, his parents were told he had a very low IQ. He basically just wasn't intelligent, couldn't do tests, couldn't think properly. Well, he ended up having mold and Lyme that were causing the symptoms, mimicking symptoms of autism. And once his infections and toxins were cleared up, he today has just finished his first year of medical school. And he has always been brilliant. But back then, when he was in 2nd grade and when they were telling his parents he wasn't great, that he had a toxic overload on his brain. And that inflammation created in his brain made it hard for him to think or focus and test. And he's becoming a doctor because he doesn't want, and he had had every test possible and nothing came up. And he is becoming a doctor today because he doesn't want other kids and people to suffer the way he did. He's becoming an immunologist. So it's very important to understand the capabilities that your child really has that could be increased even more. They can be better. They can get to their optimum results so that they can really live their, most quality of life. And this is set up to help you understand how to do it, to support you, because I know as a parent and as a family, it can be very challenging. There's a lot of disruption, especially if your child is having aggressive outbursts. And those can be calmed if parents are like, maybe been in the program for 5 months, and they're like, I can't believe my child is so calm now. They used to be hyper all the time. They used to be one that had screaming tantrums all day long. Those are all gone. Today he's happy and content, and he was moved out of special ed classes where he couldn't function, and he was hiding behind his mom in the beginning of class all the time. And then uh, now he's in a classroom, a regular classroom, was moved out of special ed because he didn't need to be there anymore. And he's at the top of his class. He is functioning at the top of his class and connecting with all the other kids and making friends. Where before, like I say, he would hide behind mom. He was afraid. So that's why it's really important to understand that. And his mom, it's funny because I've interviewed her, and you can listen to her tell her story herself of this, because she came in to the program. She found me online and was very skeptical at first. She is a public health researcher by profession. She's got a PhD. She's very analytical by nature, is what she always says. And she just thought that this was kind of a hoax. She thought, what is she talking about? And the word recovery, which means to regain health. She said, how can these kids get better? I didn't. And so she'd ask me questions and I'd answer them, just about certain things. Started with diet, then detoxification, various things. And I'd give her information, and then she'd go and research it herself and find out it was true and come back. And that's what I'm telling you too. Does this feel right to you? Does it feel like, what? I want to know if this is really possible for my child. Look at everything I've shared with you. Research it for yourself. If you're going to join the program, enrollment does close at midnight tonight. So please enroll before the deadline so that you get into the program and don't have any more time wasted with your child. But it's very important to be able to just feel comfortable when you come in, because I want you to, but understand that this program gets results. I've not only has my own son recovered from his symptoms of autism. You can listen to Diana's story, again, the skeptical mom whose child accelerated. Well, he actually had his diagnosis completely removed by a specialist. If you want to listen to that interview at all, I'm going to write it down in the chat box, because you can listen to it for yourself, and that might help you if you're on the fence and wondering, I don't know, and you've heard a lot of things before, and what's true, so I've been doing this program for over 4 years now. So we have a lot of parents who have shared their success. And there are a few of them in short videos they've even done for us at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. There's a testimonials page on my website at naturallyrecoveringautism.com you can look at if you need more. And then naturallyrecoveringautism.com/Diana, just right here. I'm just putting in the chat box for you. That is Diana sharing her story for herself. She did that for my podcast interview one time. She had such an amazing story, and I said, "Can you share this with other parents who are really wondering, what if it's real, and for inspiration, because her son had so many tremendous leaps and bounds." I have other parents who were told their child would never speak. Today, they're speaking fully and completely, and Diana's son is the same way. She says, we're mesmerized, her words, by his speech. He's speaking endlessly, is inquisitive, asks questions he couldn't speak before. What does that mean for an independent, creating independence? Hi, Ryan, welcome back. Yeah, you're 34 years old with Asperger's, and you want to replace antidepressants and mood stabilizers in a safe and sound manner. Yes, absolutely. Again, be weaned off, but must be done slowly. Right. We talked about this yesterday on the Q&A. If that takes 2 to 3 years, I'm totally fine with that. And patience is always important. Things do take time. And as I mentioned yesterday, you do want to make sure that if you're weaning off of any prescription medications, that it's done with a licensed professional who is helping you do that, because we do want it to be safe. I want to get the process started. I've been getting very irritable and losing patience because I've been seeking this help for years with no luck in finding it. Ryan, I have heard that story from so many parents. You're now working with it on your own, which I commend you for. I mean, it's great that you're like, I want to, feel better. I want to be doing better. I want to see what else I can do for myself to be healthy, and that's key. Um, and not getting the help you find. I mean, that was even my story. That's why I ended up doing the research on my own, because I was getting tired of it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm spending all this money, all this time, and these practitioners, all these people don't have the answers for me, and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to figure this out for myself, and I did, and now I share it with others like you. So that's where you're saying you'll be happy once the process starts. So let's get you going. I mean, that's really um, you will literally have access to the program within 5 minutes once you join. So go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership and choose the payment option that works for you. Click on it. It'll take you to a very short page where you submit, your information. And then once you submit that, within 5 minutes, you'll have an email in your inbox that will give you your login details to the private membership site, and be able to give you your first steps on how to get started so you know what to do. And then follow it just in a sequential order from the beginning. Just they'll tell you steps 1, 2, 3, kind of just get started. Try not to jump ahead and do other things, that'll come later. There's a space, a PDF for, we call the seasoned, for people who have maybe been on the journey for a long time and they're maybe already on some supplements and been some type of a modified diet. They're kind of wondering what to do with what they're already on, how to coordinate the two together. So I give you some instructions and information on that. But usually you're still needing to start at the very beginning, because I find what things a lot of people are doing aren't covering even the basics that need to be started for detoxification to be at its best, and best supported. There are minerals and binders along with the diet, because the diet alone, the right diet, is another thing. A lot of people think they're on a good diet or gluten-free, casein-free is enough, and it's not. And I know that the transition is a process, especially if you're, your body and those bad bacteria in your gut are really addicted to those foods that are bad for it. So slowly weaning off of those, which helps also starve out the candida and the yeast and some of the pathogenic bacteria in the gut. When they die, there's a term literally called die off. And it's the layman's terms for something called Herxheimer's reaction. Die off is when those bacteria actually start to die, which we want. We want to get rid of the bad stuff. But when they do that, they release more toxins into the system. We have to support those detox pathways first. Otherwise, your symptoms, and you'll notice this too, this is, die off will create some symptoms that can be heightened. So you might actually feel a little worse before you get better. That can go 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. Everybody varies. But if you have enough of the support supplements in place, then that helps to minimize that. And that is right there. Those are steps 2 and 3. I mean, we want to get everything, some of the support pieces in place first, because if you don't, you're going to notice, that you really feel awful. If a parent does this with their child, they'll notice their child might have some of the symptoms of die-off are extreme fatigue. It could be flu-like symptoms, headaches, even some fever. It could be heightened behaviors, like all of a sudden they're just really more aggressive than they've been. Stimming might increase, these types of things. So you want to reduce these symptoms as much as possible. And that's where the first steps come in, is the supplements. And I give you direct links to the exact supplements that you need when you need them. You only need the first couple in the beginning. You get the others later when you're there. So don't worry about the rest later. There's no hurry. There's no keeping up in this program. You go at your own pace. You have access 24/7. so that you can go in when it works for you to take a look at something and go, okay, this is what I'm implementing today or what I'm doing now, and learn what to do, order the supplement you need, and then just get started. So you can get started right away, and that's what I want to make sure that you are aware of too. Um, make sure make sure that this is working. Okay. Yesterday we had lots of questions, and today not as many, but that's okay. I'm hopefully this is still informative for you. Some people aren't aware of die-off. They might jump in with giving their child a probiotic right away, and probiotics are good. They're very good if they're a quality product, because there's a lot of really bad junk products out there on the market. Trust me, I've done the research, and that's why I streamline it to give you the exact products you need with the best well-researched supplements I found for our kids' special needs and sensitivities, and yours as well, Ryan. And because a lot of people are super sensitive, there's a lot of bad products. As I said, we want bioabsorbable, quality, easy to give, either in a spray liquid form or powder form, or if that product I found that was like the highest quality for that particular need of where we are in that program. And if it only came in capsules, then you just open the capsule and mix it in with food or beverage. So that helps make it easier too. But a lot of people, like me, might start with a probiotic and not realize that you haven't supported the detoxification pathways, which are essential to support, right? If you don't, you're going to get bigger die-off, the symptoms I just mentioned. And when that happens, you're going to see heightened behaviors in your child. And you might, some people will say, oh, I tried a probiotic. That didn't work. My child just got worse on it. That's exactly what was happening, was die-off. They had no idea because nobody told them. They didn't have the knowledge about it. They didn't know worse what to do when that happened. We don't use probiotics right off the bat in my program. They come a little bit later, actually, in module 2, because we want to set that foundation, make sure the body is, prepared for when we get there. Again, we've got the Herbal's organic proprietary herbal formulas for the co-infections, which will not boost the immune system, which is very important in autism, because you don't want to boost the immune system. You don't want an overactive or autoimmune issue to begin, which kids with autism are already prone to, and some are already in an autoimmune issue. We want to modulate or regulate the immune system. So again, all of these proprietary organic herbal formulas for the mold, the Lyme, the strep, and PANS, the parasites, all the things that we use, mycoplasma that we use for those are all natural and safe. They only help to modify or regulate the immune system, and their broad spectrum and help. So they can only help, and they won't cause any negative behaviors usually. But we want to make sure that you're supported for die-off for sure, because with anything we do, slow and safe is the priority. And so that's why I don't want anybody to feel like they have to rush ever. That's why having all the access and the forum, remember that, I think is really important, that to know that there's a forum inside where you ask me your questions as they come up. There's a lot of information that answers most of the questions, and the search bar can be used in the forum to look up any questions you might have. But it's important that if you don't find the answer that you're looking for, that you have a place to ask me your question. And that's anytime. And I get back to you within 24 hours. And that way you have your questions answered as they come up along the way, if you have them. Ryan, when I said yesterday I need to find a professional, what kind of professional exactly are you referring to? Well, I want to find a professional who specializes in autism, but also has naturopathy, nutrition, nutritional medicines, holistics, functional medicine, and etc. Yeah, absolutely. Can I please help me find a professional that fits the description, who's very experienced at helping people in and around Philadelphia? I'm not interested in psychology and psychiatry. So the program will give you a lot of the things that these people who you go to for all of these different things, the naturopath, the nutritional person, the natural medicine, the holistic, all of these things are what I've sort of wrapped up into the program. What I was talking about too, that you need help with a professional mostly, and you there is a natural profession practitioner's guide in the program, but in case you wanted one for something, but the program is something you do on your own in the steps, and that's a lot of what most of those practitioners you mentioned basically what they're going to do, and this is a way to help you streamline it so that you're not jumping around and paying a ton of money to a lot of different practitioners, and some of them who might not know exactly what to do. What is very important that you get the help with a practitioner is going off of those drugs. I'm not sure, besides psychiatry, who will help wean you off of those safely. I would first probably try a naturopathic doctor. Call on the phone first. If I'm trying to think of my website, I know inside of the membership program there is a natural practitioner's guide to various ones. But if you find a naturopath and ask them on the phone before you go, look, my goal here is to get off of medications. Can you help me with that? Usually it's going to be more somebody on the psychiatry end, only because that's their specialty. But again, even those people you have to be careful with. So, but that's what I was talking about yesterday, is really finding somebody so what I would look at is who prescribed these medications for you in the first place. And I know that they're antidepressant types in nature. So I'm assuming, I hope it wasn't just a GP. They do that too, and they really don't know what they're doing. And then you want to get off, I know people who've had severe problems, even one that committed suicide because they were given prescription medications from a GP who didn't moderate their usage or really know what they were doing when they gave the patient those. I don't know who prescribed them for you. That person should be the person who helps wean you off of them. If you don't feel that they're skilled enough, then you'll need to find somebody on the psychiatry end who has the skills to know how, or somebody you can call around to different, like I said, naturopathic doctors, holistic MDs maybe, and find out. I'm trying to remember, there's a website. It might be on my website. If you type in like natural practitioners, I can't remember what there's a link where you can find like holistic MDs, another one where you can find naturopathic doctors, but you can look them up and then find somebody near you and then just say, look, this is what I'm looking for. What, do you specialize in this at all? Or do you have you done this with people? Because getting off of those medications does need to be done safely with a licensed practitioner. But it should be somebody who really is skilled in that. And that's where you're going to need to do some calling around and asking the office when you call about, or asking if you can talk to the doctor briefly, because this is what you're looking for. Do they do that? They might refer you back, like I'm saying, to who prescribed them to you, but the person who prescribed them to you may not be skilled at getting you off of them. So again, you want to find somebody who is really skilled in that. Maybe first talk to the doctor who prescribed them. Again, if you trust them and like them, and maybe they can refer you to somebody else if they aren't going to be doing it with you. Find a referral from somebody if you have a friend. There is a holistic MD site, but you don't want to just a general practitioner too much with that either. You want somebody who's more probably on the psychiatry end, who does know more about that. You could, I don't know if the Amen Clinic has one near you in Philadelphia. I wrote about them in my book and on my website. I think, I'm trying to remember, I have interviewed Dr. Amen in my podcast, so it should be on my website. But Amen Clinic, if you, AMEN autismclinic.com, and see if there's one near you. They are MDs and psychiatrists, but they practice. They'll use natural methods, uh, and they can help wean you off of medications because they also use medications with people too. So that would be maybe a resource for you, because I'm proud of you for wanting to get off of them and go back to being holistic and natural and helping yourself, which you can for sure. My program will help you with all of the foundational, not only the foundational, but all of the things that are causing likely a lot of your, the anxiousness, depression, things that you were talking about that you needed the medications for in the first place. Well, when we work with the biology naturally, then the problems that's what we're doing, is we're reducing or eliminating the causes. That's what this is all about, the causes of these things they're creating all the symptoms. Okay, because that's what we're looking for. We don't want to just mask symptoms like you found with the medications. Maybe they didn't help you outright. They made you spacey. Our body gets used to things, and then you need higher dosages, things like that. It's like, but you haven't dealt with a cause yet. So this is about going back to the causes. I was told to drug my son and try behavioral therapies, and good luck. There was really nothing more we could do for him. And I was like, that's their answer? Because they didn't know what else to do. That's why I got that answer, and why most people I work with do come to this program and get results, because I've lived it, been through it, seen what you can do if you work, again, directly with the causes. So it's so important because, the way heavy metals affect the brain and the symptoms that they can create, and anger, and especially during puberty, moms will really notice with boys that that their symptoms really get worse, and that's usually because as this flood of testosterone comes in at puberty, especially with boys, that when it combines with other toxins, especially mercury, the heavy metal toxin mercury, that mercury it's dangerous. The dangerous effects of it and what the symptoms it creates are far exacerbated by testosterone. So that's when there's a lot of anger and rage issues come up, a lot of OCD stuff. And OCD, you got to beware of PANS, which I talked about in the master class. So again, anybody, if you have not watched the master class, or if you're interested in enrolling in the program and the membership, please do so by midnight tonight, Thursday, the 22nd of July. Enrollment closes and that page will go down and the link will expire for the masterclass replay. But it is still available right now. So please go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership and get the resources that you need. Learn about this, learn about the things that I'm saying. I talked about all of these things in length and detail in the master class, and taught for 3.5 hours, absolutely free. Just want to educate you, inspire you to take action, because when you know what needs to be done, you tend to feel like more empowered. But also then you have to know how, and you've got to have a roadmap. And that's what the program offers you, to walk you through everything, again, A to Z, step by step, with my support, with the forum to ask your questions along the way. So you're never left hanging, not sure what to do, because you've been there, right? Yeah, we all have. Enough of having to just hunt and peck around. This streamlines it, gives you the exact supplement you need when you need it, spreads that out over time too, because that can help with we want to know how to do one thing at a time. You want to know how to give a product to your child, how to take it yourself if you're doing this for yourself. I encourage the entire family to get healthy, not just doing this for your child with autism, because you might be doing all this great work for your child with autism, but if you're not working on helping yourself with some of the infections that you likely have as well, or your spouse or the other kids in the family, we can all pass infections around to one another. In fact, a lot of the kids maybe have were born with heavy metal toxicity that they maybe got in utero. Mom might have been exposed to things, or you might have had mercury amalgam fillings. And I very recently did a podcast all about that. So you can find that on, just click on blog on my website, and you can find that in the recent posts. And so the mercury goes into the baby, they're born with it, so they're already toxic at birth. There's also things like um, um, the candida overgrowth. A lot of parents have candida overgrowth. It's very common. Antibiotic use in the past, poor diet, or a diet of higher in sugar and carbs, stress alone can allow that to happen. And this also not only allows candida overgrowth, which causes a lot of these symptoms in the gut, then to disrupt the brain. So very important to know that like anxiousness and depression, all these things, they can even stem from issues in the gut, because as I mentioned in the masterclass, the neurotransmitters or brain messengers like serotonin and dopamine and GABA, they're help with calming, help with focus, help with mood stability, sleep regulation. All of these neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So they directly then give messages to the brain. Now, if the gut's not working properly, then the brain is not getting these neurotransmitters, these messengers, to the parts of the brain that need them to help regulate those issues. So it's very important. And then mercury can also make it hard for the body to get rid of excess candida. So again, they're hand in hand, right? The heavy metals and then the gut issue again. I talked about mold in the masterclass. We talked about mold biotoxins and Lyme's disease, how they mimic the symptoms of autism, and how common they are, and how commonly they're not found in tests. Even if you test for them, they often come up negative. And then they'll try, if they even do find it, they'll try and throw more antibiotics at you, which just really usually makes your problem worse again, because more antibiotic use disrupts the gut further. But Lyme and mold on their own will disrupt the gut. So you might, again, the diet thing, you're not going to see much results. Just might end up getting to just this plateau and be like, well, I've been doing these things for a while with my child, Karen, and they're not working. It's because the co-infections are still disrupting the gut, and the leaky gut has not been repaired, and it can't repair because the initial or original trigger, the cause, is still there. You're seeing the symptoms still because the actual cause has not properly been dealt with. So that's really important. I think I saw another question come in. Look real quick. Oh, it flashed. Maybe somebody was thinking about it. Nope. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to give this other Q&A for you and give you another chance to ask questions if you still had them. I really hope that if you're on the fence about joining the program, that this has helped. The education I've given you has been helpful to inspire you take action today. Again, before enrollment closes too, please, because I don't want you to miss it, because it could be months down the road before we open enrollment again. And you might think, oh, I wish I hadn't hesitated, but I wasn't sure. Well, I'm here to answer any questions. We've got support at naturallyrecoveringautism.com, also available if after this ends and you think, oh, I wanted to ask this. You could do that. You could write to our support. You can look at the page here, naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. Look at everything that the program offers you. Understand that it's doable for you, that you can do this, that because you want to make a difference in your child's life, right? I mean, that's something brought you here today, or brought you to the masterclass the other day, or somehow where you found me. And that's where it's important to understand, that there's a reason that you were brought here. And if you're here, I hope that you're willing to take action and take the steps. Are you ready to get started today? That's the question. starting to, streamline things, no more hunting and pecking around the internet, and more lost, time, wages, finances, everything else. Because I do understand this personally, and it's a very challenging journey. But with my support, and we have a tremendously wonderful community of parents inside the membership already, hundreds of them that are getting success, taking action, really wonderful, kind, sincere people that you can be part of the community with, and will welcome you. It's also kept private. That's why it's password protected too, so that your privacy is always protected. If I share somebody's testimonial, they had some results and something great happened, I'll say, is it okay if I share it? And I'll use your initials only, to keep your privacy. So unless a couple of people have done videos for us, you'll see on this membership page here. But a lot of people want to maintain privacy, which is totally fine. So that's why you'll see initials. Okay, Ryan, looks like you're doing some research, so that's good too. I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can find you. Well, you know what? I think you really need it's just because there are prescription medications. I want to make sure you find a qualified practitioner, and you may need to find somebody, like I said, that is more on the psychiatry end, who really knows how to wean you off of those. Hopefully you're joining, Ryan, because the membership program, because as you start to do the work on your body, and your body gets healthier, and your gut gets healthier, and then the neurotransmitters in your gut naturally are able to be built and more naturally, and your brain's getting more of what it needs, then those medications would need to be reduced anyway, because your body, your brain won't have as much need for them, because your body's making more of them on its own. And that's what we want to do, is help the body to do what it naturally can do. It's just that it's got to be sort of healed up before it can do that. There are some natural supplements. I mentioned a couple in the masterclass. One that's safe, that builds serotonin naturally, is 5-HTP. And that is something that can be really beneficial as well. To help to build serotonin, is responsible for things like mood, sleep, and appetite, and the prefrontal cortex for decision making, executive functioning, which is usually very low in people with autism. And so and a lot of serotonin is needed for those actions in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. So it is important to to build serotonin naturally. Again, gut healing and the supplement. But 5-HTP actually works so well that if you're on prescription medications, you don't want to combine the two, because you won't need as much of the medication. You don't want to then start having. This is where you need that educated practitioner. So keep looking for the right person. Denise, when you first start, how many weeks do you stay on the diet plan? So Denise, the diet, it's funny with diet, because people are, I think, the most, not necessarily resistant, but people are very attached to the foods they eat, and they understand the difficulties at first, but once you get used to it, it becomes a way of life. Like, I don't eat gluten. I haven't eaten gluten in years. And it's because I just know that it's not healthy for me. It's not that I necessarily have a horrible reaction. It might make me feel lethargic and stuff. That's not fun. But some people have like heightened behaviors. My daughter breaks out in hives if she eats it, which I told her, I'm glad you're allergic to it, because it makes you not eat it. Because if you weren't, you might be tempted to eat it, like if you didn't have obvious reactions immediately. So my answer to you is that the diet, really, once you've transitioned and that's the way you're eating, everyone should really eat like that all the time. It's more along the lines of like a keto diet. You're not eating processed carbohydrates or including gluten, but any processed carbohydrate, even if it's gluten free. That's where almond flour and coconut flour and various things, there are some really great substitutes. But um, eating healthy fats, some good nuts, not peanuts, as I mentioned in the masterclass, good nuts, like almonds are great, macadamia nuts, and then vegetables, less starchy vegetables, more around cruciferous or green leafies kind of thing. But you know, you get used to these foods, and organic, of course, whenever possible. I have one mom who said she didn't even realize her child, she was giving him some vegetables that she had gotten in the frozen section of the store, and they weren't organic. And he, all of a sudden, he had been doing well, and all of a sudden he had heightened stimming and behaviors, and it was because there were pesticides on the vegetables that she had bought in the frozen section. And when her child's that sensitive, and many are, and we think, oh, well, what is it? Do they have, why are they all of a sudden acting this way? Well, you got to look at everything. And this is where we troubleshoot in the program. So, finding out what might have triggered something new when it comes up. So as you'll transition, there's a guide to help transition picky eaters. Some things that you can help add to smoothies, start transition them away from the foods that they're used to eating with the healthier ones, slowly but surely. And then supporting the detox pathways, as I've mentioned today, because I want to make sure that as they start detoxifying, you might see heightened behaviors, and I don't want you to get scared or stop. We'll work with it, we keep going, but you got to get the binders and minerals in place to help those detox pathways. The diet plan, I think, honestly, is ongoing. There might be a few things that are more strict in the beginning, um, because we really want to starve Candida out. So like no sugars at all, even minimal fruit, a little bit of fruit, because we don't want the Candida to die so fast either that there's huge die off. So actually, I think transitioning is a better way to go, if that helps. But once you're eating healthier foods, and I again try to get the whole family to do it. Sometimes a spouse or another child is totally resistant. You can deal with that, but have as many people in the family eating the way in the program as possible, and you'll start to notice how much better you feel. Toxins will sit in the joints, so those, there's a lot of people with knee and elbow and just hip joint pain these days. Well, a lot of that is toxic overload. So people having trouble sleeping. Sleep has a lot to do with toxic overload, and Candida is fed by the bad foods that they're eating, and so all of these things, you'll notice better ability to focus. Some of the brain fog goes away. So I highly just suggest the whole family do it, or at least you do it with your child, and notice the differences that you feel even for yourself. And then once you do, you just tend to want to stay on eating those foods, because you get more used to it, eating that way. And we have lots of ways to be creative with recipes, and the foods you can have, foods not to have, things like that. And you'll just start feeling better. So you want to, by choice, start eating that way. And you'll start noticing differences in your child pretty quickly. Parents will really write in about the diet changes pretty quickly, unless sometimes if there are co-infections going on, it takes a little longer to see those, because when we have to start working on the co-infections sooner than later. And I show you how to troubleshoot that one as well. So, yeah, it's kind of, I think, an ongoing thing, or should be, with it. Okay. Ryan, you're losing patience and becoming depressed and suffering through major mood swings, chemical imbalances, and more because I'm seeking the help but can't find it. The process gets started. I know I'm getting help, but I need and want ABD, and it would be done slowly. I'll be patient, but because I'm not getting the help, although trying to find it, but it can be making it so depressed. And the meds brought on fat. Yeah, there's a lot going on there for mood swings. I also don't know too, Ryan, your level of where you feel comfortable doing the work for yourself. Like I'm usually walking parents through the process to do with their kids. So if you feel comfortable enough doing the steps on your own one at a time, it's laid out one at a time. There will be times when there will be maybe heightened behaviors or symptoms come up, and we'll troubleshoot that. But um, that would be a decision of yours to how you want to work with it. Because and these symptoms that you're having, like the irritability and the depression, a lot of those are caused by, made worse. You're having those feelings, but the e- extent of them, perhaps I'll say, is from more around the aspects of the toxins and inflammation in your body. There could be co-infections. In the master class, I mentioned that the co-infections, especially mold, can really cause depression. And so many people don't realize that they have mold sensitivities. It's actually 29% of the world population has a genetic defect to the sensitivities, to dispelling the toxins from mold when you're exposed to it. And then what happens is your immune system puts out markers to keep fighting it, and then you end up with this literal cascade of inflammation throughout the body and the brain. It affects multiple systems of the body, really causes heavy brain fog and depression. A lot of people have even been put on SSRI antidepressant drugs, and when they found out, without knowing that it was mold exposure, they cleared up the mold exposure, cleared up the body, and the depression lifted. I'll give you a website for mold in particular that you can do. It's called a VCS, or Visual Contrast Sensitivity Test. If you go at survivingmold.com, then that site has some really great resources around mold for you. I also have them in the member site, but I'm not sure if you're joining for sure. So I want to make sure you have that. The VCS test, I don't have that in the membership site because it's on Dr. Shoemaker's particular site. It's something he has there. You pay $15 and you do it online, where you watch this screen and you see what lines that you can see. And it's not an actual just vision test. What it's doing is it's how your vision is affected by your central nervous system. So, and that's how the mold is affecting your central nervous system. So that is something that you could go do even now and see if basically if you fail that test on that site, it shows you that you likely have the mold sensitivity, and then basically you need to work with it, because the depression can stay there if you're not working with the biological issues behind, again, the cause, right? So I'm all about the causes. We don't want to just mask symptoms. We want to find out. I was go, when somebody tells me something's going on, I'm like, okay, so what's the cause? What's the cause? What did you do? What did you what what's going on? And that's what we're doing, is like really going, tracing. But that's why in the program I go A to Z, because I don't want to just stop short on diet, or, oh, here's a couple of supplements to help detoxification and then that'll be enough. No, it won't be enough. And I feel very, very fortunate to have the access for the members to the proprietary organic herbal formulas from the doctor who created them, who is a specialist in herbologist, because she's only allowing people who are active members in my program to use them, because she knows that you need my guidance and the binders and minerals and the support when you're on them. But they are so effective, so safe and natural and organic. I mean, they work without it, better than a lot of antibiotic issues, and without any negative side effects like antibiotics can give. So it's a huge bonus to have in the program as well. So anyway, I hope that this has been helpful. Again, we've gone another hour today, given a lot of information. Hopefully it's been valuable in any way for you. I always do want to make sure that you're getting your questions answered. Again, if you think of something later after this, support at naturallyrecoveringautism.com. Please remember that the program enrollment and the masterclass link on that same page will go down at midnight tonight. So enrollment will close. So please, please join before then. So my question is, are you ready to get started? Do you want to start now? Because you have this opportunity, and that's what I'm sharing with you. And I would love to have you and help you in the program. You can implement the steps as I've shown them to you. You have my support in the forum, and but ultimately it's up to you. But you can do this. I know you can, as many parents have successfully done before you. Again, you can read some testimonials or listen to some parents as well on the page where the link to join is and where the masterclass replay is. And go now to naturallyrecoveringalautism.com/membership. It's right here at the bottom of the screen. So anyway, just wanted to make sure we got this in before the end of today, in case you were sitting on the fence thinking, I don't know. I really want you to know and feel confident. Do you feel inspired? Do you want to, do you want to get going forward and get out of the confusion? Because I always say, look 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. What will your child's life be like if you continue to do what you're doing today? Whatever you've been doing, have you been successful? Have you been getting the results you've been looking for? Or have you been falling short of those results? And that's where this program tends to take people over that crescent and get them the results that they're looking for, better results in any way. And we never know what a child's level of results will be, but we do know that they all can get better if the right steps are taken, and they're all taken so that nothing important is left out, because that happens a lot more than I could even tell you. It happens too often, and that's what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that you get all the steps in a complete program and the support that you need as well. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Perfect timing, because I think I'm losing my voice. And I talk. So I am going to cast off for now, and answer all the questions that were there. And hopefully this has been helpful for you. I would love to help you get your child better, because I'm here to tell you that they can get better. And don't listen to any naysayers. Just stay with your positive mindset. That is so important on this journey, is to just never give up. If you go on the membership page here that I have the link, listen to Karen's story about her 27-year-old son who only had 2-word sentences. She joined the program, and about 5 months later, he's reading books with her in full sentences and finishing the book before her. And this is, imagine in 27 years how that mom, Karen, how she did not give up. Just like it took me a decade to research out what I'm sharing with you, over a decade now, because I continue to research for you to stay on top of everything, and interviewing experts all the time as well, and being able to do it. But just don't ever give up, because the end result is absolutely worth it. And that's what we're looking for. So anyway, thank you again for being here so much, being a proactive parent, getting the resources you need for your child, and hopefully you're an action taker and you're ready to take that action now. Yes? If so, go to naturallyrecoveringalautism.com/membership. Join today, and I'll see you on the inside. Take care.